Manchild tries to run 2-year-long Legend of the Five Rings campaign. Hello everyone, this is not my story. It happened to some of my friends. I thought it was too good not to share. I do know the individual in question though, which we will call Ralph, for Ralph Wiggum. So, during my years on the gaming store here, everyone knew everyone. We all knew Uncle Baldy, who would always cough mid-sentence. We all knew Jeeves, who ran mage like a godsend. Pirate Elf, who looked like an elven and would run 7th Sea. And then there was Keo. A little bit of backstory on Keo. He is and was one of the greatest Legend of the Five Rings DMs I know. Why is that? Well, not only he was Japanese, he had a PhD in Japanese history, and was aiming to get a degree in Chinese history too. His games were godsend, especially since he wouldn't take himself too serious. He would always make time to add some jokes and fun in the middle of the game, since he knew how dense L5R could be. So, one of my friends, who we will call Eric, joined his game. He was his best friend. Hell, they were almost Siamese twins. Eric was a troublemaker like me. We would outlaugh each other, and I loved talking to that guy, since nothing was sacred and everything was funny all the time. My times back then were limited, so I could hang out with them, but not actively play L5R. They were a good group of people. Now, enter Ralphie. Ralphie was a 30-year-old man-child back then, circa 2004 to 2006. Bald, overweight, who would always try to come out on top of everything. When role-playing, his character had to have every magical item right away. He had to be the hero of the story. The party were his NPCs, in his perception, and I had an exchange with him. While running Hunter the Vigil, he wanted to play Aegis Kai Doru, basically archaeologists who use sacred items to fight the supernatural. He demanded to start with an item like a sacred Nordic axe that could do X amount of damage to vampires and werewolves and would mark him as a godsend. I told him, sure, but your character has to find it first, since in my honest opinion, that could be the beginning of a very Indiana Jones-esque campaign. His answer, I don't care. I want it and I have it. His answer would always be, I don't care. I want it and I have it. Now, you may say he was a shitty role player, but he was kind of a shitty person too. The defense wishes to show Exhibits A and B to the court. Exhibit A. One of my friends, who we will call Albert, was a nice guy, very swell guy, and an incredible GM when it came to hero-style stuff. He once told me they had gone to an event. Ralph was part of the group, and one of the girls was having a rough day. Apparently, one of her close relatives had died recently, and Al took her to this anime event to get her distracted. At one point, she went outside, sat by herself on a park-like area within the convention center, and Albert was there talking to her, trying to cheer her up. Out of the blue, Ralph arrives, giggling to himself. This girl was crying her heart out and pouring her every emotion based off her relative's passing. So, Ralph decided to sit nearby, take the loudest fart a human being can make, laugh in amusement seeing the girl crying, and said something, "Stop crying. I know I ate a lot of garlic, but that's too much." Albert, my friend, has the patience of a saint. Exhibit B. For some reason, Albert gave a second chance to Ralph. So, you see, he and his group were going to meet up to roll him dice. Albert took a ride on his bike to the place, and every 10 minutes, Ralph would call demanding to know where he was. During the trip, my friend felt and broke his clavicle, I'm guessing. Now, my friend was screaming in agony and pain and called an ambulance. While waiting, Ralph called him and said, "Where the fuck are you? We are waiting for you." To which Albert screamed and replied, "I just fell and broke my arm. I just called the paramedics." To which Ralph sighed and said, "So I guess you're not coming." These two bits of evidence were given to me by Albert, who I still keep in touch to this day. So is it Clavis? I don't know bones, if I'm honest here. For the main event. Now, bear in mind, I will tell this story the same way it was told to me by Eric. Kyo decided to run an epic long campaign of L5R, to which some of the players were his girlfriend, Eric, Dave, and of course, Ralphie. Ralphie was playing a crab. In L5R terms, it means they hit hard and carry heavy weapons instead of just katanas. Thing is, all the players knew L5R before, and Kyo had to explain to them it was a political campaign with elements of fantasy, to which Ralphie just said, "I don't care," and joined anyways. The campaign went smoothly at first. It wasn't too much combat heavy, but Ralph would insist on playing as if the party were his coterie of NPCs. During one of the games, a massive beast started to attack every town edge from the wall. It was moving to the capital. Every attack was rendered useless against the beast. Ralph had tried to fight this Oni multiple times. Each attempt was futile. The GM would describe how the Oni would regenerate faster than the damage that Ralph could cause, to which, none surprisingly, he would reply, "I don't care, I try again." After a few attempts, the party had to hogtie him and pull him away from the battlefield, not to die. This event was after a year of role-playing, by the way, and Ralph would be there. What's the thing? Anytime there would be roleplay where the players had to sit down with a governor or a member of a clan/family, Ralph would just pull his 3DS and play something while the rest of the party would sigh and focus on the discussion elements. Ralph would only be active to fight. The House of Thousand Fortunes. Somehow, don't ask me how, the players got into the celestial realms to discuss directly with the gods of L5R. From Amaterasu to Fukoru Kujin, please tell me if I said that right, to all the fortunes. I definitely feel like I did not. Thing was that for 6 months, the combat would die, and they would only meet to roleplay, trying to convince the gods for divine intervention. Eric mentioned me that in the L5R lore, the gods had made a pact of non-direct intervention, so the players had to convince them to throw them a friggin' bone. The details were mostly avoided, but knowing Kyo, he would have made the players go through tests of intelligence, wisdom, and whatnot. No, not doing roles, but through roleplay, doing paintings for the gods, poetry, and whatnot. While all this took place, Ralph would only sit on the corner playing with his 3D6, eating junk food and sometimes looking up to see what was going on and focus back on his 3D6. By the end, the gods gave one spell that could weaken the beast enough to take physical damage. So, the players went back to Rokugan and planned on how to attack the beast. They had to do more roleplay to get the clans to do a temporal alliance to fight this leaded by the Crab Clan and their Shugenjas, magic monks. The idea was to cast a spell that would make a lightning fall on top of the creature, and that would dispel its regeneration. The massive Oni was advancing and crushing houses under its feet while he would constantly scream, waving a massive tetsubo made of corpses. Each movement would allow the corpses to fall into the ground and become restless dead. So all and every attack was at distance, while Eric, the party's Shugenja of Phoenix, and Dallas, the dragon monk, and Shaka, another crab, would be casting the spells. The rest would have to keep the beast at bay. Cue Ralph again. He had fought the monster and knew it would regenerate incredibly fast, to which even the DM, Kyo, God bless his infinite patience, would tell him, "You know it's kind of useless." To which Ralph would say, and please repeat with me, "I don't care, I do it." So Ralph raises his Yari spear while riding his horse. The Shugenjas roll to summon the lightning spell. Kyo demands Ralph to do the dodge roll. Ralph assumed the dodge was to dodge the beast's attack, to which he said, "I tank it." So, the lightning hits Ralph's character. Kyo makes a massive damage roll, and Ralph's character died right there and then, wasting their only opportunity to kill the beast. For the first time in years, I heard that Kyo was shocked and was like, "What the fuck do I do to save the game?" He asked for a break, he sent everyone home, and he was heartbroken. Cue Eric. He was taking Ralph to take the bus back home, to which Ralph was upset that Kyo killed his character. While Eric was trying to explain, Ralph wasn't really paying attention and just said, "I don't care, I'm the hero, I don't deserve to be cheap-shotted out of a campaign." Shaka saw his phone and looked at Eric, giving him a look. Eric was like, "What the fuck?" And both of them dropped Ralph at the bus. As soon as the bus was far enough, Eric was heading to take the subway when Shaka stopped him, and on his words, Kyo had sent everyone a text saying, "Make sure this effort takes a bus. As soon as he gets in, you all come back to my place. We're saving this game." Last I heard, Ralph was working for Nintendo. He was working as a Nintendo sales representative at GameStop type store. By Nintendo sales representative, I mean he is just a vendor. In his mind, he represents Nintendo. Kyo had a kid and has been focusing on his family. Eric and I still talk, and I still can't believe how effing badly he derailed that game. I wish someday to run L5R, but for now, I'll keep collecting stories like these to dodge people like Ralph. I am so sorry for anyone if I failed at pronouncing any of the names. I definitely did fail at pronouncing them. I hadn't even heard of L5R until I had seen this on Reddit and wanted to just make a story of it. Or a video of it, not a story. Ralph was definitely a horrible person, treating others with disrespect. It's actually more than disrespect. I understand that some things can be really funny. You know, a lot of people have dark sense of humor. That makes sense. Everyone has their own sense of humor. But making fun of a girl that's grieving is definitely not one of them, no matter the situation. It's a bit different when you're trying to make jokes to help the grieving person, but not at the grieving person. He acted like he was the hero, in which he wasn't, and if he wanted to act like that even before the game, I probably wouldn't have even let him in the game, because he already had major main character syndrome, and I don't think that should be in the game. If they want to act like that, they can go play a video game. It was good that Kyo decided to leave him out of the fix and continue the game with the others. He had incredible patience, because I can only imagine how Ralph was, considering they had been playing for over a year, I think it said, and he was always on his game when there was no combat, which is just really annoying because half of a role-playing game is roleplay. But anyways, that's gonna be all for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!